Hey guys, very good evening. So hope I'm audible to you all. So please confirm if so. So as you know, so we will wait for 5 minutes to join all the participants for this session. So we will start in couple of minutes. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask me. I will be helping with the answer. So I can see one query in the chat telling that recording sessions are not opening. It's 404 error. So sorry for the inconvenience. Definitely, I take these words to the technical team. So they will was a reason for that, and soon you will able to access the recordings. And at the same time, I also have one more query asking like how to access the old session videos. So old session videos in the sense, do you mean like day one and day two session recordings? If so, please mention once again. So I will tell you how to access those things. It's just simple, like on the same link which has been shared via your email. If you click on that link, obviously you will get all the session recordings, day one, day two, day three. So if you update on the day four, day five, also you can find the same recording on the same link. So there is no other replacement of the link we'll be going to have for the day to day. With a single link, you can access all the recordings for this session. Cool. So I feel like clear. Everything is clear. So if you are ready to join now, please raise your hand. So we will begin the session for this day. So today, I think you don't have any questions regarding yesterday's second part, right? Where Sandeep has been handled the session. So particularly, I told Sandeep to walking through the security part in the Salesforce. Security part. What is the security part? How does the security part help the Salesforce buddies? And what are the expected questions you can expect in the Salesforce for the security part? So if you have any questions, please mention. I give a quick recap for that. So with that, we will start today content, and today we're gonna discuss particularly approval process. What are approval process, and how do we define approval process, and how we are going to use an approval process. And for that approval process, what are the field updates we're gonna do? And other side, we will also discuss about the declarative automation. We call that as a flows in the Salesforce. Okay, we do see what are the different types of flows we have, and we also see a sample of a screen flow or the record trigger flow. And these flows are going to be more powerful than a coding part in the Salesforce, because as if you see the coming generation is completely there on the artificial intelligence. Based on that, so there is no more weightage for the low code tools. So with that, flows are considered to be more powerful tool which is going to build on the Salesforce platform. And there are a lot of updations happening from the version to version, or update to update in the Salesforce, particularly on the flows. So initially, when the flows has been started, it has been started as an only two flows like screen flow and the record report flow. And then later they have been updated with the four flows, then six flows, and now you can see there is a bunch of flows which are there in the flow structure. And you can also iterate the data in the flows. This is the latest update. So we'll see flow in some time. So still I'm checking any questions from your side. Please do let me know. So if you are ready to move forward, so please give me a thumbs up, or please raise your hand, so we will start going forward. And any questions also, please do mention. uh, and also please do mention whether my screen is visible to you, or and at the same time I hope my audio is clear to you all. Yes, clear. Checking for the Q&A, so confirming that my video has my screen as well as audio is clear. Yep, that's fair enough. I got no fair enough. Okay, so let me move to the Excel sheet of what we have been working from the last 2 days. Let me go here. Today we will start with an day 3. Okay, recording sessions are getting error. Yes, I can see this is happening with the multiple people. So give me some time. After this session, I just get back to on this error, and I will reach out to the team telling that there is an error with the link we have been shared on the mail. And if possible, I asked team to share, circulate one more mail, so with the updated link over there. So please ignore for now. So once this session is done, so update same to the team, so telling that there is an error in the recording sessions. Okay, so again moving back to the day 3. So in the day 2, I feel like Sandeep might revised about these things. Let me give a small recap. So security module. Security module. So can you please mention me like what are the 4 levels of security we have in Salesforce? So can you mention me that what are the different levels? There are like 4 levels of security we have. Expecting for an answer. Okay, let me move from mindset. So first we have an organization level, and then we have an object level, and then we have an field level, then we have an record level, and again under the record level we have a couple more settings like OWD, sharing settings, and manual sharing, OWD sharing setting, manual sharing, and criteria based sharing, and owner based sharing. Owner based that already covers. Again, this sharing settings has been there as an two more things: criteria based and owner based sharing. So OWD stands for organization wide default. So this is an entire structure of the security model, data security model, particularly data security module. So how it behaves. So when I talk about the organization level, so primarily, so in the organization level, we do have something like in a company settings. Majorly, it covers within a company settings. So when I talk about the company settings, that includes time zones, and that includes the password policies, that includes the IP ranges. So that includes the authentication, that includes the SSO sign-ins. So all things are involved on the organization level setting. And when I come for the object level settings, primarily we do have something called the profile. Okay, profile, and then after permission set. Okay, these are the two primary things which involves in the object level setting. Object level setting. Okay, and one of the most expected interview questions, like let's give how important this question is going to be. So let's suppose you pick any company. So for a fresher, the first basic question they're gonna ask is like, what is profile? What is profile? So any answer I can expect from your side? Okay, I missed these answers in the chat. Yes, you pasted answers from your side telling that organization level, object level, field level, record level. I really appreciate your answers, and if that you have learned from the Sandeep, I definitely give this appreciation to the Sandeep, making you to clear on these levels of security. And if you have learned that from your side, even I really feel happy that you have a good knowledge on these four levels. Okay, and following question, like I was asking a question like, what is profile? What is profile? And this is like a triple star question, I can tell you. So basic for a fresher, the first most asked question is going to be, what is profile? So I just want to give in a 1 minute of time, people who are there in this session. So I request everyone to give your answers on this. I request everyone to give your answers on this. Waiting for the chat responses. See, if you are not knowing answer also, please paste it on the Q&A telling that not known, or telling something like negative response like we are not aware of that, something like that. I want to expect more chat answers for this. Please post your answers in the Q&A. So chat is disabled for you people, I feel so. Okay, I have multiple answers started getting. Profile collection of settings and permission. Okay, profile groups the users into functions. Okay, set of permissions and settings. Okay, and unique accounts. Still any still I'm expecting. I want to read all the answers which has been posted in the Q&A. Profile is a organization access. Yeah, cool. Smart answer. Because that's I was still up. Okay, okay. Still any answers? I told you once again, I'm repeating. So if you're not knowing answer, you can also paste. You can also write a comment telling that you are not aware of profile, because this is important. That's the reason I'm giving some spending more time on the profile. So let me give an answer from my inside. Let me write answer, not just giving an answer. So let me give mine version of an answer. You can find multiple versions of the answers in the Google or anywhere you go on the different websites. But mine version of the answer I'm giving. So try to understand what exactly the profile is. So if you have any questions like what is profile, the answer would be like this. Profile, base profile is a base level setting given to a user. Somewhere it went wrong. Setting. Profile is a base level setting given to a user in the organization. Organization. Got it? So very simple answer. Profile is in a base level setting, and this is important. Base level setting given to a user, given to a user in the organization. So why I'm calling this as in a base level setting? Because if a user wants to access something in the access something, or a user wants to get an access, or even user wants to create, so the basic settings we need to give for a user, and that basic setting has been enabled from the profile. That basic settings has been enabled from the profile. So that's the reason profile is in a base level setting given to a user in the organization. Hope that you copied the answer for the profile. Okay, and I have couple more answers in the Q&A, so let me go through them also. It acts as a blueprint for a user accessing, determining what they can see, create, edit, delete. I appreciate this answer, and this is from my school. And okay, for users, okay, which determines a user permission, access level, and the functionalities. Yes, accepted even this. Shubhani. What is base level settings? Manchala, hope I have given a clarification regarding this. What is base level? So it might be any kind of anything you want to do in the organization, Salesforce organization. So you should be assigned with some kind of permission, like accessing some record or accessing some functionality. So to customize something. So I do consider that as a base level settings. In the base level settings, it might be organization level security, or it might be object level security, it might be field level security. So three things. Clear, everyone? Is that clear for everyone? Please give me thumbs up or give me a check so that I move to the next thing. Yeah, appreciate it. So that's about the profile, and you can also accept. You can also expect one more questions like what is role. Okay. Any answers I can expect from your side? So what is role? So the followed question to what is profile you will be asking, and after this, then the followed question will be what is role, and then after the followed question will be like this: profile, what's role? Any answers I can expect about the role? So let me check once again. Role define the user visibility. Role defines the user visibility. Okay, so let me think of other answers also. So any other answers? Role provides access to records, visibility to users. Role provides access to records, visibility to user. Okay. Role is a hierarchy. It consists different levels of profiles. Yeah. Among all the answers, Naveen Kumar answers is very near. Okay. Let me read all the answers also. The profession his role like a CEO, system administrator, etc. Even this makes some sense. Okay. Controls record level access. Yes, we have something called role hierarchy setting. Role hierarchy setting. Okay. Roles are used to access for the data. Yep, true. Data in the sense indirectly again it calls to the record. Cool, Mahesh, and particular data access. Particular data access. So let me give my version of answer. See, role is like designation given to an employee or given to a user in the Salesforce, and based on that role, so the visibility of the visibility of records will be opened for a particular user. So role is a kind of designation given to a particular user in the Salesforce. Based on his designation, what kind of data visibility should be visible, or what kind of data visible to be given to a particular user decided by the role. Yes, Abhi, your answer is also right. Defines record level access of the role hierarchy. Yep, cool. Most of the answers are right. So repeating my answer once again, in mine version, role is a designation given to a user, and with the role, it defines what kind of data visibility a user is required. What kind of data visibility is user is required. And when you consider about the role which profile, so role is not mandatory for all the users, but when you consider for the profile is mandatory for each and every user. So without a profile, okay, so profile is mandatory and role is not a mandatory. Okay, and other side, one profile, like one profile can be given accessible for the multiple users, like user 1 and user 2, user 3. But one user 1, for one user, we cannot assign like a profile 1 comma profile 2. So this is not possible. So this is possible. This is possible. Let me make it this once again. So one profile can be assigned to the multiple users, but one user couldn't have multiple profiles. So that means one user, one profile, or one profile to multiple users. Well, coming to the role, what happens is one role can be assigned to again multiple users as discussed. At the same time, a user might have multiple okay, it's not taking user 1 comma user 2 comma user 3. So this is possible. So a role can be assigned to multiple users as usual, and a single role can consist with multiple users. So hope that is clear with you all. So what is profile, what is role, and a profile gets role, and every profile consumes one license. One sense. license. Every profile consumes one license, and entire Salesforce do works on the license based. So if you see, and we are on the developer edition. For the developer edition, we have two Salesforce licenses and three platform user license and platform user license too. And when you go for the different versions, we do have like different editions we do have in the Salesforce. And depending upon the edition and depending upon the license consumptions, the billing will be generated. The billing will be generated. Okay, so every user consumes a license. Every user consumes a license. That means every user who is an active user, we require a license to make him as an active. So for the non-active users, we don't require any license, but for every active user, we want a license. And the billing is going to generate on a base of license. Clear? Everything is clear for you all about the profile? Give me a thumbs up or give me a raising hand or give me a Q&A chat response. Yeah, looks fine. So now let me discuss something about the permission set then. Okay. So what is permission set? Again, followed questions on this. What is permission set? Any answers I can expect? Again, guys, be active. When I ask, when I was about to start one question, start any new concept like permission set profile role. So you can expect directly that I'm going to ask question on that, and just be ready with your answer. Okay, if you're knowing answer, give me one. So I don't want any explanation from your side. Just giving me one tens that you know what is permission set, and zero tens you are not knowing the answer for the what is permission set. So okay, let me see now Q&A. So one tends that you know the answer, zero tends that you don't know the answer. So anyhow, I give my version answer. Okay, only one response I got till the time. Oh, very bad. Okay, three responses I got telling with an answer, and one response I got with an one. Giving permission to the user. Yep, giving permission to the user. Okay, let me ask the same question, repeated question on the same version. Kalyan is giving an answer for me, like giving permission to the user. Permission set is like giving permission to the user. Then what does the profile do when I'm giving permission to the user? Even I can give the permission using profile, right? Then what makes the difference between the profile and the permission set? Yes, followed question. Difference between profile and permission set with an example. With an example, yes, most asked. See, whatever the question I'm mentioning here, so these are the most asked interview questions. Okay, now if I go to the Q&A, I can see yes, zeros and ones in the equal portion, and I really appreciate the one trying to give an answer for me. Give extra permission to user. Kalyan, yes, extended his answer, Kalyan. So giving extra permission to the user. So if you want to give an extra permission to the user, you can give the permission directly on the profile, right? Then why to go for a permission set? Kalyan, this is particularly again for you. So you gave me the answer. I accepted that answer and I given a counter question for that. Again, you gave me the answer. Again, I'm giving a counter question for that. So the counter question is like, yes, you are right. To give an extra permission for a user. So to give an extra permission for the user, I can extend the permission on the profile, right? Then why I need to use permission set over there? Manchala, even you are right controlling the user permission, but that is not my question exactly. So my question is like, what is permission set first? And when you tell giving for the permission, yes, you are right, but we have in a profile, right? Why to go for the permission set? Collection of settings and permissions that use user to various tools and the function. Out of the box question, I feel this is out of the box answer, I feel. Devi Varaprasad. Okay, so Prasad, you might be trying to tell answer. I really appreciate even this because telling nothing is better than telling something. Giving some external permissions for user. External permissions for user. It doesn't make any sense here. So external permissions, you mean when you call external permissions, what I feel is like giving a permissions from the outsourcing system, like out of the box, like third party applications. Not exactly permissions that is used for that. Collection of settings and permissions that give access to the various tools. Nope. See, Devi Varaprasad is very smart, giving in the same answer multiple times. He feel like I can show attention towards any one of the answer. Appreciate your smartness. The collection and the permissions that gives access to additional features and functions. Same questions for Rajeshwari too. So which I have given as a counter question. So if you want to give an additional features and a functionality extended for any user, you can give directly on the profile. Why again permission set? Okay, hi, appreciate Abhi for the right answer. So if you can see on my screen, so I can see or else again I repeat. I feel like you all able to see mine questions, answers Q&A, right? Okay, so let me cut the answers from here and let me start giving my answer because I have seen one answer is going to be right. Okay, so permission set comes into the picture when you want to give an additional access beyond the profile. Let's suppose we have a profile. So let's consider this as a profile one. So with this profile, I have been created user one, user two, user three. Okay. At the same time, let's consider there's an object called a underscore underscore. So this object is going to be custom, right? So that's the reason I'm mentioning that as an suffix indication that's underscore underscore c indicates that's in a custom object. Okay. Now I have given this object access in the profile one. So that means indirectly the users who are having this profile one as their profile will get an access for this object A. Okay. In the same way, let's consider we also have an object B. We also have an object called B underscore underscore C underscore underscore C. So in these situations, what was mine criteria or what was mine situation is like, if I give this object under the profile, so all these three user can get an access for the profile, this object, right? Instead of that, my requirement is like, I want to give this object B permission to user 2 and user 3. User 2 and user 3. So in that situation, what I do is like, I create one more, I create not a permission profile. I create a permission set. I create a permission set with permission set 1 with permission set 1. Let me call like this ps1 and yep, get out. Okay, so what I do is like, oh, control Z escape. Sorry. So that's going to be ps1 permission set 1 and in this permission set, what I do is like, what I tell to that permission set, that means what I assign is, I assign this object in this and I assign this permission set to user 2 and user 3. So now user don't have a permission for the object B and while coming for the object A, this user do have an these three users do have an access for object A. So that was a major difference. So when you want to extend the permission within a particular criteria which cannot be given under the profile, in that situation we will come to the permission set, and under the permission set we define what are the permissions to be given to that particular user,
and that permission set has been assigned to the users whom you want. Hope that is clear now. What is profile and what is a permission set? Wow, really I appreciate. I have a lot of answers for the profile and the permission set. Cool. Please respond for this now. Is that is clear for you all? Like what is permission and what is permission set? How do we utilize a permission and permission set? And with an example, we have seen that how exactly you need to derive when someone is asking difference between the permission and the permission set. If that is clear, and this time I expect 5 in the Q&A, putting 5 in the Q&A, so I expect 5, so which gives an encouragement for me that making sense, like the concept what I was teaching you getting into your brains. You are clearly totally understanding what I'm trying to tell. So 5 is in a, I'm expecting in the Q&A. Yep, I can say good number of 5s, but still I expect more. Only few 5s. I can keep counting on them. 3, 3, 3, 6, 7, 8. Still, okay. Quickly, I ask one question. Quickly, I ask one question. So you all know you are there in the Google right now, right? You can go to the Google and you can give me the answer also. Can I give? Can I give field level permission? Can I give field level permission using permission set? So I'm writing my question. So direct questions. It's like a yes or no question, true or false question. Can I extend? Can I extend field level or field permission, field level permission for a object using using permission set? Okay, now it's your call. Give me your answers. I will be checking on the Q&A. Okay, I can see few answers are like yes. Still, I am expecting. So yes, I don't want to kill more time on this. You are right. Yes, we can extend permission, field permission using a permission set. Using permission set. So it is going to be permission set. Yeah, cool. So that's how we deal with the profile and the permission set. And when you come for the profile, then what I need to tell, so both. So this profile as well as the permission set is going to be deal with the field level settings. And here we also have something called page layout. So page layout helps to give a security based on the UI. So page layout is in a UI interface. So if you want to display something for the user interface or display on the front end interface, so what you do is like you work with the you work with the you work with the page layout. So we also have a record types. You also have a record types. You have a page layout. You have a record types. You have a record types. You have a record types. You have a page layout. So all this kind of settings deals with the field level securities. Field level security. So okay. And well, coming to the record level settings and OWD, OWD is going to be the most powerful tool. Under the OWD, we have multiple options again. So if I want to derive those options, I show you before I derive those options. Someone, you are right. A profile and permission set works for both object and field. Okay, and I have one more answer from Abhi. Field level security controls which a field a user can see or edit based on the profile or permission set. Abhi, you are right. Abhi, you are right. Let me extend something for that. So using profile and using permission set, we can give both object level as well as a field level permission. And what are the different permissions we can do is like CRED, C-R-E-D. So what is the CRED stands for? So CRED stands for create, read, edit, and delete. So this part we call as a CRED and most important thing. So whenever you talk about the profile, when you talk about the object, when you talk about the field, when you talk about the permission set, remember this word CRED, CRED operations. CRED operations indicates that so we can enable CRED operations using permission set. That means we can give a create, read, edit, delete access permission. Cool. Okay. Now let me open instance actually. So I want to show you something about the OWD. So guys, one more thing I want to confirm from your side. Does all these things covered by Sandeep yesterday? If so, I don't want to kill or I don't want to revise on the same topic which Sandeep has been revised. It's on your call now. So if you will to revise from my side, I keep going on. If not, I will start with an approval process and close. So just I want to get an update from you all. So telling that it's necessary for you, a quick revision is required from my side. What is record level? Record level, buddy. I'm coming over there. Please give me some time. At the same time, for the same question, I'm asking you from my inside because I got an update from the Sandeep. Sandeep has been revised all these things. So if you will, same topic should be revised from my inside also. I am happy to do that for you guys. But before that, I want a response telling that as an yes or as an check from your side, giving me your time to revise those things. Okay, I have now something called new topic. Okay, so still I want to check if no response is getting as an to give any revise on this. So I will start with a new topic. If I get any responses telling that we need to go on a same topic recap, I will do that. So meanwhile, let me open mine developer edition. Login.salesforce.com is an URL, helps me to log in into the Salesforce, and this is mine Salesforce credentials. My thumb is not going to work, and let me give you the password directly. Log in into the system. Okay, I have the same answer repeated multiple times. Still I'm checking for the multiple answers over the Q&A, whether you want new topic or revision. Whether you want new topic or revision. So new topic, give me one as a response, and two is for revision. So I'm making your answers to be very simple. One, if you give one, so that means you are interested with the new topic. Giving two as a response, that means so you want me to revise the topic. So I can see more answers for the revision, two, and one. It's like a 50-50 call. So what I do from my side is I quickly make from my side. So as we are there in the record level settings, just let me proceed with that. So record level settings, right? So when you talk about the record level settings, it's in a data level security. Data level security in the sense. So what is a record? Record is in a row which is created in the database. Record is in a row which is created in the database. Okay, so now if I go for the front end like sales application, sorry, sales. So if you go for the now sales application, from the sales application, so if I go for this account, do have a list of records over here, please do find. So if I go for the all records, these are all my records. So who is the user here? We have a user here like Rakesh Bhumani. And if I go for the setup, and from setup, if I want to check who are the users we have. So if you check for the users we have, and let me go to the users. Let me go to the users. Now we have a list of users here like Rakesh, Bhumani, and some other users. These are the out of the box users, and this is me actually. If I create any sample user,
So let me create a sample user also. So because it's important that you should know. So let me give a test user one or else user test. Let me give it this user test one. Okay, alias name it takes an email ID test@gmail.com. I'm giving as an sample, and it also picking the same thing and test. Let me give test for test and let me go with today date 1604. Okay, 1604 @gmail.com and something like this. And if you see here, I told one thing when I'm talking about the role and the profile. Role is going to be mandatory. Sorry, profile is going to be mandatory, even though I don't mention anything under the role. So non-specified. I can also go with the non-specified without choosing any role. Also, I can proceed creating the user. But for the profile sections, I don't have a none option over here. And profiles are based on the license. So if I check on this, so we do have a Salesforce license, freely given. Two Salesforce licenses are available in the developer edition. So in which one is profile, and I can go for the system administrator once again. Nothing goes wrong. Okay, that's how I create a profile, and let me click on save quickly. So that's it done. I'm creating a user. Now, if I go to the user, so if I want to extend the account records of this test user, then how I can do that? I can do that from the profile, and if profile is not appropriately assigned within a particular object we are thinking about, then we need to do that from the permission set. And it's okay. We are also granted the permission set access. So we want to restrict the data. So how we are going to restrict the data? Let me give one example. Let's consider now we are talking something about the record level settings. Record level settings are being derived in multiple levels: OWD, sharing settings, and a manual setting. In the sharing, we do have a role hierarchy and rather than a criteria based sharing. Role hierarchy and the criteria based sharing, and role hierarchy, even owner based sharing also we will be having in a manual sharing. Cool. And let me start like this. So again, let me take an example of a object. A underscore C. We have an A object. We have an two users. Let's consider two users like this. Sales representative. Sales representative. Let me consider sales representative one and sales representative two. Sales representative two. So let's consider these two people are working. These two people are working over the. These two people are working for the for a product for a product, and that product details are going to store in the underscore C. A underscore C. And let's consider this sales representative is working for the Telangana region, or let me go and this sales representative is working for an Indian region. Okay, Indian country, India, and this sales representative is working for an US. Let's consider like this, and whatever the leads he do get, and he do load the leads on his region, and owner of that lead is going to be this user one. So let's suppose, and this fellow bought one record like this, Rakesh. And for this record, who is going to be the owner? So SR1, SR1. So let's suppose, and this fellow also bought one more lead, telling that some other name called Ajay. Let's consider like this, and owner of this lead is going to be SR2. Now, so this let's consider these two users have in a same profile called system admin or some XYZ profile, and for this XYZ profile, there is an object access A underscore C. A underscore C. Now you guys tell me that can this SR2 sales representative can see both the records, record 1 and 2? Both the records 1 and 2. Give me your answers quickly. Can this one record, two record, and there might be some other users also like this. They might be able to get some other leads like this. This might be some SR3, whether this fellow is having access or not, we don't bother. But let me talk about these two things, and let me repeat my question once again. So there are two sales representatives, and one is working for India and other is working for the US. And this sales representative bought one record, and this sales representative bought one more record. Okay, and this fellow is the owner for this, and this fellow is the owner for this. My question is like, this sales representative can see all these three records. What's your answer? Yes or no? I got only one answer telling that no. I want to check that with other people also. If you're knowing answer, give the answer, and if you're not getting this point, give me one other response. If you're knowing the answer, please come up with your answer. Important guys, this is where you understand the scenario-based question. Understand scenario-based. See, I'm not teaching you the concept. I'm teaching you the how to answer for the scenario-based questions. And I am only teaching the concepts where you can expect a scenario-based questions when you tell the basic definitions like profile, role, and permission set, user, and other basic questions like what is the security module, or this kind of what is apex and a trigger, apex trigger we will be getting in the last two sessions. So that's tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Any answers? Still no ways. Okay, I got answers. True one. By using permission set. No, see the scenario what I'm explaining is very clear here. Nothing I'm adding to that. So no permission set user, nothing user default. Everything is defaultly there. Two users are there, and two users are creating their records. But my question is like, can this user two, sales representative two, can see all these records or not defaultly? Yes, defaultly this sales representative can see all the records. But this is not the case, right? This is not the case. Why I tell you? So let's suppose we also have one more user who is working for India, sales representative three. Sales representative three. Now, these two people are working for the India, right? So how the salary is calculated for this sales representative is like more they will get an incentives rather than the salary. So let's suppose this fellow bought this Rakesh record and this fellow bought this Sandeep record. And this sales representative three is a little cunning fellow. When this fellow is seeing this Rakesh record, and let's mention the Rakesh number also here with the phone number and owner. Okay, owner dot record. Okay, phone number. And let's suppose we also have number for these users also. Dummy number I'm giving. Don't believe all these things. Okay, so this sales representative is bit cunning fellow. So let's consider this lead is not yet successfully closed. Okay, still that is in a pending state where the discussions are going. This fellow is working very hard, and this fellow is a bit cunning fellow. So what this fellow did is like he got an access for this record, then he found his number, he started following up from his side, and he converted this record into this fellow record. So he manipulated Rakesh, telling that you close a record, telling that I'm not interested in this product. And what does this fellow do? Obviously, this fellow makes a record to be unsuccessful. Unsuccessful. Then same record this one has been created on the name of Rakesh and this thing manipulated and something happened. So now what happens is this fellow found the record of Rakesh, but successfully happened with this fellow. No, this fellow has a 0 credits and this fellow has a 2 credits. So that means so there is some kind of bad thing happened to this fellow, right? In such a way, what the organization wants to do is like they only want to give an access for the users to their own records, not to the other records. So if user one or like a sales representative created a record, only the sales representative one records will be displayed, not other two records. If this user three is creating a record, only the user three records are getting displayed to this user, not to the other. And if sales representative two is creating a record, only this record is going to display to the sales representative three. So this kind of achievement can be happen with an OWT. That's where I'm calling that as a record level security. If you see here, for all these three users, they have an object access, they have a field access, Okay, but they were restricted on the data. They were restricted on the data. Make some sense? Make some sense? And this kind of achievement can be happen with the OWD, organization by default, in which to enable this kind of permission, you need to make you need to make an a particular OWD settings to be private for that particular object. For that particular object, and what is this object? G underscore underscore C. Then what happens is the expectations, what you are expecting, like SR1 can see only SR1 created records. SR3 can see only SR3 created records. And SR2 can see only the SR2 created records. That's how we deal with the record level security, in which one option we have is an OW, organization by default. And in the organization by default, we choose a private for a particular record. And we also have two more options. We will see that also. And with this, I want to conclude how the record level setting is working. And I want an showing thumbs up from your side, telling that that is clear to you all. Any questions you are open to ask. I give 1 minute at this level. So then after I go to the org and I tell you what are the different options available under the organization. OWD, organization by default. So I want the chat Q&A responses. If that is clear to you all, give me one other response. If you have any questions, please post your questions over there. And if you have any, still that is not clear to you, give me two as in a response. If that is clear, one, any question, pose the question. So something difficult you felt in understanding, give me two as in a response. I definitely repeat from mindset for understanding. Okay, I can see two responses. How one user can see all the records. Okay, so got it. Getting to you, Devi Varaprasad. So Devi Varaprasad has any questions. Let's consider one more user. How one user, let's consider there is another user called SR4. So this SR4 wants to see all these records. This SR4 wants to see all the records. In such a way, we have an other record level sharings, like a manual sharing settings, and sharing settings based on the owner, sharing settings based on the criteria, sharing settings. So we have two levels of sharing. And other side, we also have a record level sharing and falls under role hierarchy. Let's consider there is a sales representative 4. Okay, sales representative 4, who is a manager for all these records, who is a manager for all these users. And we have some option called role hierarchy. When role hierarchy is enabled for a particular user, this SR4 will be having access for all these records. Clear, Devi Varaprasad, how OWD impacts the data security. So Namrata, I feel like I'm telling you the same. Like this is how the difference happens when you deal with an OWD and for the different levels. And one option we have been discussed, private. When you put private, and this kind of achievement you will be achieved. So we also have two more options. We will see that. And we have another option called public. So when that is in public, everyone can see all the records. And the second option is like private. And the third option we will have controlled by parent. Controlled by parent. And this topic already we have been discussed when I'm discussing about the MDR, master detail relationship. So that means if this object is in a child object, if we consider, and for this object there is some other object called A, B, C underscore C as a parent object. And for these two objects, there is an MDR relationship. Then this access is controlled by this object. A object access is controlled by ABC object. A control access is controlled by ABC. So that for making it very detailed, so we have a student we have a mentor. Okay, so for the student, let's consider we have this many records, and this child is depending upon this mentor for the OWD settings. So for this OWD, if this mentor is there in public, so all the records are open for all the users. If this mentor is there in private, obviously the owner of the record will be having a record access, particularly which they have been created. Makes clear now. So once again, I'm checking for the Q&A. So please give me a response about the Q&A so that I can confirm and move forward. So if you make me to move forward, I show you now directly on the developer org. So where do you find these options and what are the different available options we have? Checking for the answers, checking for the answers. Give me one as a response, which makes me to feel that I can proceed further. So very bad time. I feel like people are not responding. I think cool. No worries. I take this as an encouraging so that I make you feel better, understand all the things. Cool. So now if I want to go for that, I need to go for the sharing settings. Let me go to the sharing settings, and then after, if you see, so all the object organization by default we call this, and if you come here for all the objects, you do have this, and we have a private option, public option. Okay, so if you see here, default internal access is going to this default external access. So that means when this lead is connected to the external system, so what kind of access you are going to do this? That's how it decides. And we do have a test object, right? You can see these two objects are our objects which we have been created. And defaultly we have a private access and for the external system, and this is for the internal system. So if I want to edit this, then obviously I can click on this and I can start editing. So we have an edit button over here. So when I come to this object and we have three objects, private and a public read only and a public read write. So private, obviously, only owner of the record will be able to see into that record and they can do any further changes. They can't do any further changes if that is private. Even the database ability also will be false. And when it comes to the public read only, they can see the record, but they can't perform any kind of edits over the record. And as I said, public read write, they can see the record and also they can write the record. That means any edit is possible from their side. So that's how it behaves. And I was talking something about the role hierarchy, right? This is what. So if all the records wants to be displayed for their manager, then we will enable this option. If this option is enabled, the manager can see all the records. Manager can see all the records. Nobody can see all the records. And other side, we also have some more settings. Let me go back. Let me change. And let me go back to the sharing. Under sharing settings, so we have a sharing rules. Okay, under the sharing rules, if I go for the again test object which we have been created. So if I start clicking on new, so we need to define the role, what was the role name, all these things. And again, we have a rule type based on record owner or based on criteria, some criteria. So let's suppose user 4 wants a records which are there in the India section. Then I go and I choose some kind of permissions over here telling that so Indian created records can be shared with this particular user. So that will be happen based on the public groups and the roles based kind of settings. Cool. And owner based record also, like if particular X is an owner and all these X records shared to the some Y user or some public group or some roles based users. This is one other kind of sharing. And we have two types of things and record based like sharing rules. In that sharing rules OWD and sharing settings. In that sharing settings we have an option called sharing rules. Under that sharing rules we have two options. One is record based, another one is criteria based. Other one is criteria based. With that we also have other permission called manual sharing. Let me show you the manual sharing. How does it works? So let me go to the sales application once again. Sales application. If I go to the sales application, I can see your accounts. I can see accounts over here. And let's suppose if I want to share this record to anyone, I have an option here. Change owner. So whom you gonna share to this? And what kind of transfer over opportunities owned by all other things, all kind of stuff. Related information. And this is what we call as an this is what we call as an manual sharing. And manual sharing is preferred only when we have an one record to be shared with the other users. So let me click on this and let me go. Sorry. So let me go for all opportunities and then after let me go for this sharing settings. Then after you can see under the sharing settings and this is going to the manual sharing. Who sees this list view? Like this is particular for the list view, I believe. Yep. Then if I go for open this record, then I do have here sharing and from there I can share manually. So that's what we call as an manual sharing. So that's all about the sharing rules, sharing settings and role based sharing and all kind of features we have. So please do let me know if that is clear and any understanding is required further. So I am there to help you and please give me a check over the Q&A or over the emoji symbol telling that till this part everything is clear and so that I can start the next part on the declarative programming, something which is automation section in the Salesforce. Is it good to go? If that is good to go, give me 0 as a response. If that is good to go, give me 0 as a response. So let me start about the let me start with the if that is good to go, let me start with the declarative programming and declarative automation we call generally. Declarative automation. Declarative automation in the Salesforce. When I talk about the declarative automation in the Salesforce, there are multiple things comes under this like workflows, work workflows, process builder, approval process, approval process, approval process, and other one is flows. Guys, your response is more important for me to keep moving forward. So it's important that if I want to move further, your response and please respond over the Q&A. So telling that, so we are ready to move forward. We are ready to move forward. I can see only 2 responses, and with these responses, it's like making me a bit nervous that I can't achieve the peaks of the training what I want to do here. So I request everyone to give a response telling that 0 in the Q&A. So with that 0, I feel a bit excited and keep moving forward. So some interesting guy pasted 1. So I feel like 1 indicates that you are following me, everything is understandable, so we are good to go further. 1 2, yes guys, keep calling like this. 1 2 3 4
All right, looks fine. Okay, so let me come back to this. So when I talk about the declarative automation in the Salesforce, and these are the four major things which comes under, and in which workflows and the process builder are the retired version in the Salesforce, but still we work within a workflow. So because we do have multiple rules, there are like four major rules which will be involved in the approval process. Like four rules, or I can also call as four options. We have a major options which will be then a part of approval process. Four rules or four options available like in the approval process, and that's where still we use an approval process. Sorry, workflows. And process builder has been retired actually. So, but still some companies use in a process builder. But the new coming automation, the new automation is not encouraged. It's not encouraged, and it's an recommendation that, so if any new automations you are going to write, and definitely use in a flows. So this not required now. Okay. And approval process. So why we want approval process? Any guess, like what is the need of approval process in the approval process? What is the need of an approval process? So approval process are mainly meant to give an approval for a particular record. So why we want to give in a particular record to be approved? What does it mean is, let's suppose, let me take an example, like a very easy example, leave management, or like leave. So in this leave management, if you see here, so first there will be a employee, and for this employee, there might be multiple employees. Yes, I agree. Enter two, enter three, enter four. So like multiple employees, and for all these employees, there will be a manager. Even though this manager is an employee, let's consider this manager is going to be a number four manager, like this manager, I mean, and even for this manager also, again, there will be a manager. Something like this. Okay, and this employee is applying for a leave now. So obviously, when this fellow is a reporting employee for this manager, so before he apply for a leave, he need to take an access. He need to grant the permission that he can apply on a leave for a particular day. Then for that particular day, if that leave is approved, then there is no deduction in the pay. There is no deduction. If that is not an approved leave, then obviously there is a loss of pay. So simply we will call that as an LOP, loss of pay. So if you don't want to get a loss of pay, so the initial activities what you need to perform is like, first as an employee, you create a record within a record one, and you assign that record. So record created, and assigned it to manager. Then it might be sometimes, see, when you are a manager, you are a reporting manager for this manager, and this manager is reporting to this. That means obviously this manager, let's consider this manager is like some number seven. So obviously you are also an reporting employee for this manager also, I believe. You are all understanding this? Do you believe this? Am I true? Yes, that means, so when you assign this to your manager, this record has been assigned to this user as well as this user. So if this manager approves your leave, that is approved. Even this manager approves your leave, even that is approved. This is one case. I want to check whether you're all following me. Okay, Devi Varaprasad is giving an answer for that. It is in a way to define a series of steps for the record to be approved for rejection, rejected by an designated user. Yes. So same thing I'm trying to explain within a simple similar example in our day-to-day activity where we use this. Okay. So we have a multiple steps we go through when we deal with an approval process. Before that, I'm trying to tell you what is the approval process and how does the approval process required and why approval process required. How does the approval process function and why approval process required. Okay, so this is the function. So in such a way, like there are multiple ways we can create an approval process and give an approval. So when that is approved, something is updating, like a field update is going to happen, some task is going to assign to a particular user, and some side we have an outbound messages. So outbound messages, like as I mentioned here, there are 4 rules I told you, right? So let me define those rules. And field update is one thing, field update, and other is a task, assign a task, assign, yes, assign a task, and the other side assign a task and outbound message, outbound message, field update, assign a task, outbound message, and there will be one more thing called I'm not pretty sure that, let me check this. I'm not getting what exactly the other permission is like. So to check that, I need to go to first setup. So we have a workflow rules. Yep, email alert. So other thing is like an email alert. So this is the 4 different options which are available on the workflows. So whenever a record is approved or rejected, we can assign all these 4 things. So that means you can tell that when this is approved, give an email alert to a particular employee telling that your review has been approved. So when something is approved, and then shoot out the outbound messages to the different leads. So when something is approved, then some task is assigned to some employer, some user. So within a particular activity to be performed for that approved record or any action to be taken over there. So when something is approved or rejected, then some field updation is going to happen on a particular record. So that's how it functions. Different updates we can take. So let me show you where we can go and define the approval process. Type approval process. Okay, so under the process automation, we have an approval process. So if you want to check for the workflow rules, so even under the process automation, you have an workflow rules. As I mentioned that this is a declarative automation, so you have everything under the process automation. Let me go for the process automation. You have seen multiple things. Approval process we are talking right now, and flows we will talk. And we were also talking about the flow builder, and this has been retired, and I'm not concentrating that much on the process builder. See, first thing under the automation, Salesforce has been introduced workflows. Okay, workflow actions, and they have been introduced workflow rules. Under the workflow rules, we have these many actions. Okay, and later some activities which you cannot perform in the workflow rules. So checking with the difficulties, they have been introduced to the process builder. So once process builder is done, and they wants to do some advanced kind of activities, they introduce the coding part, they go for the trigger. So they will go for the trigger. So this is programmatic. This is in a programmatic approach. So what is this trigger? So this is also an automation tool, but using code, you will be doing this. Programmatic approach. And so once they were on the line of trigger, so they thought that we should bring some powerful declarative tool. Then they introduced the flows. Then they introduced the flows. That's how the journey of the automation tools has been going through. So now the flows are more powerful tool than a trigger declarative programming. Cool. Now let me take you to the approval process. Yep, approval process. So you need to define approval process on which object you are going to write. So if I write something on the test object, yep, yes, just an a sample I'm picking this, and create an approval process. We have two steps here. So these two steps are same. There is no that difference in these things. This is like an so you only go to the initial step, and later what happens is individually you need to define the permissions. And this is like an it's a series of building the approval process. Step one, then after step two, step three, step four, something like this. Here, so step one you create and you say the approval process. Then after you define what kind of actions or what kind of initial activity should be performed on that particular access. So just thinking that just let me go with the standard setup wizard so that I can take you through all the steps. So I'm just test underscore approval process, and unique name it picks automatically. I'm not, this is just a test sample, and I'm just moving next. Now like criteria are met. When some criteria are met, there are again criteria here. So when some criteria met or some formula is evaluated too, so here you can also define the formula. So you do have multiple functions here, so using that function, so we can give any particular criteria. When that criteria is going to be true, then only this approval process comes into the picture and they gets activated. Okay, so I'm just going for the criteria are met. I'm not defining any criteria. That means even though I'm not defining criteria, that means like, so in any situations, any tougher case or any kind of situation, this approval process should be activated, and there should be an active stage. And just going for the next without any approval process. And here we have an select field user for the automating approval rating, or else select approval field and record eligibility properties. So next automation approver determined by. So once record is approved, first one record is approved, then who is going to be approved for the next? So manager. So when I choose manager, that means when I click on the approve, automatically it is going to the manager. So for my manager, particular manager, who is a user here? Rakesh Bhuman is a user. So if I create one record and like a leave request, so when I submit this, automatically that is going for the request for my manager. As I am here the system administrator, I do have an highest privilege. So if you want to check that, definitely you need to change your profile and you can keep checking. So we have multiple options here, like create new hierarchy relationships. So here you can select the label of the new hierarchy relationships, and you can define that. So most of the times we always go with the manager, but depending upon the situations also we use approver field to test owner. Use approver field of test owner. So that means we can create one more approval, and we can make the complexity of this approval process flow it in a systematic or in a sequence way. Record eligibility property, only admin can edit records during the approval process. So with this statement itself we can understand so what exactly this step is going to do. And then after going next, approve assignment template. If you have any template like a email template, you can use the email template. I told email action you can perform, right? Upon approval is approved or rejected. So what kind of template you're going to attach, so you can create that also. If you want to create new, you can go with this step. If anything is existed already, you can choose that, and just skipping this step and going forward because this is not mandatory here. So initially when you define like what are the approval pages where an approval will actually approved or rejected. So that means when you get an approval, so if you see here notification, what happens is in the notification section, how it you will be having a notification telling that you have received a approval or rejected request. So when I open this, what are the fields to be displayed? So it's not like all the fields which are there in the records to be displayed. It's your call, like what are the major fields that you can make to be displayed when I open a notification for an approval or rejected. So that's how you decide this. So this is the step where you decide those things. And security settings, how the security setting is working, you can also go into that. And just going for the next option. So who is going to be the submitter? So submitter in the sense, let's consider that There are two employees, employee one and employee two. Unfortunately, employee one unable to open their system and unable to open their system and apply for the leave. So instead, what does the employee done is, so he called his colleague, he called his friend, he called his peer and telling that Rakesh, unfortunately, I couldn't log in into my system and a request for an leave. Can you please help me with this? So in that case, what does the second user do? Second user go to the leave section, leaves table, and create a leave on behalf of Rakesh, and then he makes a submit. So such kind of permissions, if you want to do or if you want to give, so then you can give. And then it's in a final call, like just we can create on a save step. So with this, we just created an approval process, but we didn't define any kind of action to be performed, and even we didn't make this as an active. So when this is an active, then first it checks for the criteria. Based on the criteria, this comes into the picture whether this should run or this should be in the sleep mode. Okay, and what are the approval steps? Step one, like in the step one, what you need to do. In the step two, what you need to do. Those steps you can define here. So if you want to create new steps, yes, which is going to be in a priority also. So one, if one is true, then it should go for the two, or it should directly make it an activated. If one is true, it should go for two, and it also take an approval. If two is getting rejected, and not obviously it is going to be rejected. And one approved, two approved, again three, it is going for the second approval. If and three is also approved, then finally that is approved. Or else if three is rejected, then all the record is going to be rejected. That's how it works. And there are initial actions. I don't feel like that complex questions you will be asking. So just you have an idea like what is approval process. I know this is bit complex for you people. Outbound message means okay. Outbound message is like a bulk message we are going to do for a third party system, not within the organizations, for third party systems. Let's suppose all the records I'm collecting from the different organizations and I'm managing in my Salesforce account. Now I want to give a bulk messages at a single go, like some 2000, 3000, and in a millions of messages I want to send for an external system, not an internal system. And we call such kind of thing as an outbound message. Clear how to build an approval process in the Salesforce Ben as an approval process of it also different. Yeah, someone is referring the Ben blog. Yes, you can also go to there. Also, you can have a detailed instruction. It's an automation system that ensures records. Say when you're copying such kind of answers, please remove these kind of statements, because clearly I can understand you have been copied this answer from some website. Yep, Salesforce Ben. It's in a good. He's in a good blogger or something. I can tell like in a good content sharing person for Salesforce particularly. Because as I am to the Salesforce, I always refer on different resources in which I found somewhere like a Salesforce Ben is giving a good content for the Salesforce domain people. Hope that everything is clear once again. So please, right, it's time to respond telling that that is clear. So with that, I can proceed for the next topic where I consider that as enough flows. Okay, again, shooting out within a one as a response in the Q&A. So which makes me to proceed for the next step. We call that as a flows. Okay, one question I have before I want to start the flows. Can I perform all the CRUD operations? Can I perform all the CRUD operations? Create, read, edit, delete. Create, edit, delete. Not read. So when I talk about the flow, so flow can make a record to be created automatically, and flow can make a record to be updated automatically. We call that as an edit. And delete. Flow can also make a record to be deleted upon some criteria based on the conditions. Yes, these three things. Obviously, when you have a record access, then only it happens. But we can also define some kind of visibility with the read option also. So CRUD operations can be, DML operations can be performed using a trigger. insert. When I talk about the DML operations, mostly this will be discussed in the programmatic approach, like insert, update, upsert, all these kind of structures. I don't see any kind of response over the Q&A. I don't know whether you felt like a lot of stuff we are going to deliver for this day. You feel the same? You feel the same? So do you feel like a lot of stuff we are going to deliver for this day, or something like what? It's difficult to proceed without a response. I feel like you all respond for this time, and then we keep moving forward for the flows. Guys, please do respond once. Am I audible to you all? Am I audible? Yes, yes, I'm audible. So is my screen visible to you? Yep, even that is cool. Okay, then let me go to the Excel sheet again then. Coming back here. So now let's start discussing something about the flows. Okay, again, flow is an automation tool which helps to perform the DML operations. Flow is an automation tool. The flows I'm talking. So when I'm talking about the flows, that means there are multiple flows we have. So now I'm defining about then what is flow actually, and then we will see what are the different types of flows available. Okay, flows, and we have different types of flows. In which let me mention some flows over here. So we have a screen flow, record trigger flow, record trigger flow, oh, record trigger flow, and auto launch flow, and others are schedule trigger flow, and we also have some other flows like auto launch flow, record trigger flow, schedule trigger flow, and a sub flow, and we also have an event trigger flow. Okay, and so if I take you such, so there are multiple flows. Let me show that directly. Instead, I approach like this so that I also get a good understanding which flow. Okay, if I want to create new, then I need to go and I can directly. Okay, new flow. So if you want to create, so from scratch or using templates, so there are some templates defined. So there are some templates already defined, and using that template also you can or define the flow, but we can also build that from the scratch. So when you are a good expert to build a flow, then you will be using the templates. So if you learn from the scratch, that will be easy for you to start. Okay, so let me go for the next step. So these are the different types of flows we have: screen flow, record trigger flow, schedule trigger flow, platform event flow, and auto launch flow, and record triggered oscillations. Okay, and other side. So there's a vastic change in the flows from the last time to the time I've been often these things. So these are the majorly two things which are fair enough if you understand the screen flow and the record trigger flow, and automatically you will be understanding what are the different types of flows we have here. Okay, so this is the flow interface, and let me go to the screen flow and create. So this is how the flow interface, and we call this white screen as a canvas. White screen as a canvas. Canvas, and we have an select element section over here. So layout, we have two layouts, and in the first layout, automatically when you create something like this, so when I create something like this, I want text. Rakesh, and something like this, text box, text box, text underscore box. So label name is going to be control C, and this is going to be control V. Read only, something like this, screen flow text box, and clicking on done. Oh, valid screen. A screen box. Screen box, and the screen box just for test I'm creating. Okay, I'm not defining all thing, I'm just doing this and just clicking. So now if you see here, so when I choose auto launch, automatically it has been selected. But if I choose a free form, so what I need to do is like I need to define like a, so what is the attachment I need to go on. So if I want to define one more screen, I need to drag here. So then screen 2 I define, so test the screen flow description, something like this. And again, I'll choose text. I just display text. Let me give like this text box, text box, text box. Just text box like this, and I don't want to insert any resource. I'm just going with an done. So I'm just going within a text box. Nothing we can do here. So just making it done now. So we have an error displaying over there. So you can just go there and let me give a name. Okay. So we have an error at the API name. So let me check with that API name, and this API name is already exist. So that's the reason it is not picking. So text box and text going to be true. So now it picks automatically, and we don't have any error which will be coming now. So clicking on done. Okay, now if you see here, there is no attachment is happening from the screen 1 to screen 10. So just because of we are there on the free form, so we need to manually connect from the screen 1 to screen 2. So this is what we call exactly the free form. And if that is auto layout, it assigns automatically lose unsaved positions. Yes, lose positions, no worries. So we can define manually. So if I want to create, then there is a plus symbol in between each and every screen, then I can define that directly in the auto launch. So that's how the different things we have, and this is the toolbox we call, and in that toolbox we do have a manager symbol, and here we see what are the elements we have been created. These are the elements, and these are the screen components. Okay, and if I create any other elements like see defaultly, yo, let me cancel this actually. Okay, now if I create instead of screen, if I take any action, so now you'll be seeing like element has been created as an action. That's how it defines, and this is how you generally generate a flow. And let me give a small correction, like let me give a brief description regarding this different types flows. So screen flow is an a front end flow, front end. and which helps for the user interaction. Which helps for the user interaction. So that means, so if you want to give any input to the system, ScreenFlow helps. If you want to get some display to be happened from the system, even that helps. So that's how, in that kind of situations, we will use a ScreenFlow. And a rigor trigger flow is an auto launch flow. It's like an automatic flow which gets triggered when certain conditions are met. Conditions are met. When certain conditions are met, automatically record trigger flow gets triggered. And auto launch flow are on a particular time, and or on a particular event, when a particular event or in a particular scenario. So automatically this flow gets launched. And there's a schedule trigger flow, and a schedule trigger flow is something like you schedule for a particular time, and then you define that flow, and this flow gets executed. And subflow, and you can define a flow inside a flow. And subflow can be attached in any of the flow, either in the screen flow, either in the record trigger flow, either in the auto launch flow, or either in the schedule record flow. So instead, if you see like a flow is repeating again and again in the different flows, then you create in a flow, and you take that flow to attaching into the other flow, then we consider that as a subflow. And we also have a platform event trigger flow. Platform event trigger flow. So this is something like any platform event is like any update is going to happen, or any version you are going to change, or any particular event which occurred for some task or assigned to some user. So in such case, this platform event, and most of the user flow is like a screen flow, and beyond that we will use a record trigger flow, auto launch flow, and the schedule flow. And subflow is always like we always try to add in a subflow in the each and every flow. So the most important flow is like first screen flow. Screen flow is just for the user interaction, to take in some input from the user and save that in the database. Record trigger flow, it's like when a condition meets true, then automatical flow gets triggered. And auto launch flow, so automatically for a particular schedule, on a particular time, or for a particular event, or for a particular assigned record, so this flow gets into the picture. And schedule record flow, we can define some particular time to run this flow regularly, like every week, Monday at 10 p.m. you want to run this flow, then that's a schedule trigger flow. Or else every day 4 p.m. you need to run in a flow which tells that you want to get in a list of records within a latest update. So then you run within a schedule trigger flow. Subflow, obviously you got to know all these things. So this is what then a deep interaction that I can give from your side. So the questions which you will be expecting from the approval process is like, what is approval process? First question. Okay, what is approval process, and how that is helpful for? And other side is like, what is flow, and what are the different types of flow? And can you explain any one of the flow, or they might be expecting in the tough cases, show how do you define a flow, all these things. So these are the major expected questions from the automation, declarative automation. And the other side, if you see, so if you see another side, so we have a day 2 revision, like a security part in the Salesforce. So with this, I just want to conclude for this day. So just let me know if you have any questions. I'm again happy to share all those information from my side. So if that is clear to you all, please give me a thumbs up. So with that, we can ram the session for this day. So considering that we have been learned a lot of information for this day, and which will be purely and technically, and most revised questions has been covered in the day 3. And in the day 4, purely we will discuss about the basic expected coding questions in the interviews. So like Apex, what is Apex? What is trigger? Types of triggers, context variables, what are the context variables? And other side, And if you check how do you write in a trigger, what is SOQL, what is the SOSL, what is the use of SOQL and SOSL, difference between the SOQL and SOSL. So declarative programmatic part we will discuss tomorrow. So for the last time, can you share all the important interview? So definitely, I am just preparing a document particularly for you guys. So which I will be sharing on the last day of the session, which consists of a list, bulkful list of questions, which will be expecting in the interviews, where I have been gathered these questions from the different companies like. Particularly, I have written two sets of questions which can be expected for the interview on the prospect of experience and other side for the freshers. So I'm just filtering all the questions and giving any basic levels of questions for you. Definitely, I will be sharing a document from mindset. Mindset in the sense, definitely always SmartBeach is there for you guys to help all these kind of situations. And as you mentioned, I will just go through the recording, check what happening with the recording, why it is not available for you all. So with this, signing off for today, and again see you on tomorrow session with the same spirit and the same learning activities. So for the last time, I just want a response from your side. Signing off for today has a zero on the response. So you all followed till the day, and you will be readily there for tomorrow.